From a rusted wreck to gold-filled jackpot, Parker Schnabel's latest find is nothing short of unbelievable. Deep in the wilderness, he found an old forgotten Tyrrell, a massive mining machine left to rot for decades. But this wasn't just any rusted equipment, it was stuffed with gold worth over $400 million. How had no one noticed? Why was it left behind? The Tyrrell was a beast of a machine, a massive steel tube, built back in the day when mining was all about power and speed, not precision. It was designed to handle tons of dirt every day, separating the gold as it spun. But because the equipment was so old, it wasn't great at catching the smaller gold. A lot of it had slipped right through and built up inside the machine. Over the years, Parker was curious. He started scraping off the grime and peeking inside. That's when he spotted it. A glint of gold, and not just a little. This was something big. As he dug deeper into the history of the site, he heard old rumors from locals. People had talked about this place for years, whispering that it was once part of a much bigger mining setup, but the whole operation had suddenly shut down, either because they ran out of money or ran into problems they couldn't fix. Since then, no one had dared touch it. It's definitely making me think about the two wash plant things, and the yardage of these two plants is about the kind of yardage that we're aiming for, so the yardage works. But now Parker was here staring at what could be the jackpot a lifetime. Getting the Tyrrell running again, though, was no small job. The machine was huge, heavy, and rusted. First, they had to figure out how to even move it to a place where it could be fixed. Then came the hard part, restoring it. Parker's team had to replace worn-out gears, fix broken screens, and repair the main steel drum. It was slow, back-breaking work, but the team kept pushing through because they knew what was at stake. While they were working, they also tested the dirt piled up around the Tyrrell. That's when things got even crazier. The dirt wasn't just good. It was packed with gold, way richer than anything Parker had ever seen before. This wasn't normal mining dirt. This was something special. It was like hitting the jackpot right there on the ground. Knowing how valuable this site could be, Parker quickly set up a small processing plant nearby. He mixed old-school mining techniques with modern technology to make sure not a single piece of gold slipped through this time. And the results were incredible. Day after day, gold poured in. The value climbed into the millions faster than anyone expected. But that wasn't the end. We catch our gold, and probably half a meter with their hydraulic ripples. And we've got a new drop. Catch TR. As they kept digging into the Tyrrell's past, Parker's team found something else: old records that mentioned other connected mining sites. It turned out this Tyrrell was part of a bigger network of operations, and each site might be sitting on gold. Just like this one, these old notes were like a treasure map leading Parker to even more hidden gold. Storing the Tyrrell became more than just a job, it became a journey into the past. Every rusty bolt and dented panel had a story. This machine had been through a lot. The miners who once worked here had risked everything hoping to strike it rich. Bringing the Tyrrell back to life felt like honoring their hard work and dreams. When the trail finally fired up again, it was a sight to see. The massive drum spun smoothly, sifting through dirt with power and precision. Golden nuggets and fine particles flowed out. Parker's team stood there watching, knowing they had turned an old forgotten machine into a gold-producing powerhouse. By the end of Parker Schnabel's work on the Tyrrell, the results were better than anyone could have hoped for. His team pulled out a huge amount of gold, worth hundreds of millions of dollars. What had started as an old rusty machine left to rot in the dirt had now become one of the most important tools in Parker's gold mining success. Finding the Tyrrell didn't just change things for Parker, it made other miners start thinking too. People began asking themselves how many other old machines like this are still out there hiding gold that was never collected. But even though they had found the gold, Parker's team knew their work wasn't over. Keeping that old machine running would be tough. It had been sitting in the wilderness for years, and even though they had fixed it up, machines like that needed a lot of care. Music Thanks for getting this done. It's a nice setup. I like the plant. And there's always going to be a few quirks to work out. But I like it so far. This whole journey had taught them something important. Sometimes the best treasures aren't found by digging in new places. They're hiding right under everyone's noses, covered in rust and dirt, just waiting for someone to see their value. And if you want to discover more such tales about forgotten gold, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Are always looking for new land to dig or the newest equipment to use, but Parker's story showed something different. The real treasure can sometimes be in the things others left behind. That old TRL had once been a great machine. It was built to separate gold from rocks and dirt, and back in its day, it was one of the best. But as newer, faster machines came along, the old trommels were pushed aside and forgotten. They were left to rust in old mining areas where no one cared about them anymore. That's where Parker came in. While others saw junk, he saw a chance. To him, the trauma was not just an old machine, it was something that could still work, something that might help him find gold. It all started when he was working in a remote area, a place where people used to rush to find gold. Years ago, the land was full of broken tools, collapsed wooden buildings, and rusted machines. That's when Parker found the TRL. It was covered in dirt and plants, nearly impossible to see. Most people would have just walked past it thinking it was nothing but scrap, but Parker knew something important. Old machines like these sometimes held gold that was never collected over the years. Gold could get stuck in the trolls, parts hidden in the dirt it had processed long ago. Parker saw the TRL as more than just metal. It was a gold box waiting to be opened, but getting it out of there was going to be hard. The TRL was massive, weighing many tons. It was deep in the wilderness, far from any roads. That's really nice. I really like this PL. Moving it would need big trucks, cranes, and a lot of careful work. One mistake and the machine could break for good, but Parker's team was up for the challenge. They worked together, planning every step. Slowly, they hauled the TRL out of the rough terrain and brought it back to their workshop. Once they got it there, the real work began. The TRL was in terrible shape, rust covered everything, and many parts were broken or missing. Parker's team took it apart piece by piece. They cleaned off the rust and replaced anything that was too damaged. But they didn't just want to fix it, they wanted to make it better. They added new technology to the old machine, making it stronger and more efficient than it had ever been. When they finally turned it on, the TRL roared to life. The huge drum began to spin, washing dirt and rocks while pulling out gold. It was like waking up a sleeping giant, and it worked better than anyone had hoped. The gold started coming out in large amounts, some of the richest dirt Parker had ever seen. The trauma became one of Parker Schnabel's biggest successes. It wasn't just about finding gold, it was about hard work, believing in something when others didn't, and knowing that sometimes the best things are hidden in the past. Parker's story showed everyone that treasure isn't always in new places. Sometimes it's in the old rusty machines left behind, just waiting for someone brave enough to bring them back to life. The project also changed the way people thought about mining. Parker's team showed that you could bring together old equipment and modern technology to work smarter and more responsibly. By using the latest systems, they reduced damage to the environment while getting the most gold possible. Local communities and other miners respected what they had done, seeing it as a new way forward, balancing profit with care for the land. Want to see more gold? Subscribe now and join the hunt for lost treasures, hidden riches, and legendary gold discoveries. That TRL became more than just a machine. It became a symbol of hope. It reminded everyone that sometimes the biggest discoveries come from the past. Parker and his team didn't just find gold, they showed the world that hard work, creativity, and respect for the land can lead to success. This story inspired miners everywhere to look at old things with fresh eyes, knowing that the next big gold rush might be hidden in the rusted gears of yesterday.